Well, one of the questions we've asked ourselves, I'm going to talk about today, is there a fintech bubble? Is there not? I mean, I think there are a lot of indicators that there is a bubble. But on the other hand, there's also many interesting trends and opportunities in fintech as well.
Why are you saying that? Which indicators do bring you to that point that there is a bubble?
Well, I mean, if you look at traditional or even not so traditional valuation metrics, many companies, trade at 10 times what a normal company would trade at for that kind of thing. And there are also many examples of companies which really aren't very good, trading at high valuations. But on the other hand, there's also some tremendously good and innovative companies too. So it's a mixed bag, but there's a lot of fluff out there.
And how do you differentiate if you look at them?
Well, I think it's partly sector makes a big difference. So, for example, the payments sector, we think, has got more potential maybe than the lending sector, to give you an example. Another way we try to tell them apart is actually pretty simple, which is companies that make money, at least on a unit basis, or maybe on a total basis, are a lot more interesting than ones that say they're going to make money but actually lose money.
Yeah, about making money brings me directly to the German banking scene because they're not making a lot of money. But you have actually turned around a former Landesbank very successfully. So what did you do different?
Well, Hamburg Commercial Bank, we feel like, has been a great success story. And we attribute that to the management team, the supervisory board, the employees, the staff really have done a fantastic job. And they've done a couple of things. One thing is brought tremendous discipline to costs, and another is tremendous discipline to the balance sheet. So looking for lending opportunities, customer opportunities that have a reasonable prospect of profit, and those two coming together have been very successful.
We're talking a lot about consolidation. I don't name the banks, but we know what we are talking about here. Right. So how likely do you think this is ever going to happen? And do you think this is actually an interesting investment case, looking at the state that these banks are in?
Well, I mean, I do think it's eventually going to happen, although it's a long process. In America, it started in the early 80s, and it's, took 30 or 40 years. So this is not 1 year or 5 years. This is many years. I think it's well known. One of the keys to this is across the Eurozone, standardized deposit protection scheme, regulatory schemes, et cetera, so that it's so that it would be easier than it is now to merge banks across border, to run balance sheets across border, so deposits from here, loans there, without it all being in the same country.
Yeah. What I've been hearing a lot from one of the banks in question is that cross-border mergers are just too expensive to happen. Is that true?
I imagine some are too expensive to happen. Some are too difficult and too expensive, at least today. Maybe less demanding, less maybe smaller ones, could be done today. So I think it depends on the circumstances. In the long run, across the Eurozone, there should be a lot of consolidation.